Hi, friends. This week for Read Aloud, we are reading so many Christmas stories because Christmas is only a few weeks away. So today I have Itsy Bitsy Christmas and Tacky's Christmas. So, first, I'm going to start off with Itsy Bitsy Christmas. As you can see, you have some animals here, and then you have Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus, just like our Bible story that we have been learning about. We've been learning all about how Jesus was born. So, Itsy Bitsy Christmas is by Max Ludico, and it is illustrated, or the pictures are drawn by Bruno Merz. So remember, this is our title page because see, it's got the title again. Itsy Bitsy Christmas. Bitsy, watch out! Itsy grabbed his little sister's tail and pulled her back just in time. The big wagon rolled past and splashed them with mud. Be careful, Bitsy. You don't want to get run over. Bitsy jumped back and gulped. Her big eyes grew even wider. I've never seen Bethlehem so busy, she exclaimed. People everywhere, wagons rolling, cows mooing, donkeys pulling, and camels. Do you know that camels spit? Ew. Bitsy stepped away from the camel nearest to her. What's going on, Itsy? Follow me, and I'll show you, the older mouse replied. What do you think's going on in Bethlehem? Well, keep reading and find out. Itsy took his sister's hand, and they scampered to the top of the city wall. It's time to count all the people. Everyone has to go to their hometown and sign a big book. Bitsy looked around. This is a big day for Bethlehem. Big day indeed, said a deep voice behind them. Itsy and Bitsy turned around. A donkey was talking to them. The mice were on the wall so they could see him face to face. Whoa, you're big, said Itsy. I've never seen the nose of a donkey, he added, peering inside his nostril. Ew, said Bitsy. Who are you? She asked the donkey. I'm Daniel from a faraway town. Are you here to be counted? No, he said very slowly. I am here because of the king. What? Haven't you heard? The king is coming to Bethlehem. But Bethlehem is an itsy bitsy town, Bitsy explained. Why would a king come here? The king is special. He comes for everyone, big and small. Like us, Itsy asked. Like you. Bitsy turned, her whiskers bouncing. Itsy, we need to tell our friends. Yes, yes, Itsy agreed. They will want to see the king too. The mice dashed between feet, hooves, and rolling wagon wheels and ran towards the stable. They scurried under the gate, up the stable post, and onto their favorite rafter. From their spot high above the floor, they could see all their friends. Ruthie, the mama horse, was the biggest. Rowdy the rooster was perched on the rail. 6 sheep were crowded in the corner, and Charlie the cow grazed on some hay. Grumpy the goat sulked in another corner. He never smiled. He was always mad at someone. Itsy cupped his hand over his mouth and squeaked, Okay, everyone, gather in. We need to talk. No one moved. Bitsy tried, We have big news. No response. Bitsy turned to the Rowdy the rooster. Can you help us? Sure, replied Rowdy. I love any excuse to make some noise. And he leaned his head back. Cock-a-doodle-doo! The animals lifted their heads. Hey, groaned Grumpy the goat. Knock it off. I'm trying a nap. Itsy and Bitsy have big news. You're moving? Grumpy muttered. Grumpy be nice, said Ruthie, the mama horse. Itsy and Bitsy, tell us your big news. A king is coming to Bethlehem, to us. No one spoke for a long time. Then Rowdy crowed, A king to Bethlehem? That will never happen. The others snorted, bawed, neighed, and mooed in agreement. Kings come to important places, offered the sheep. And to important people, agreed Grumpy. Not like places to Bethlehem, or to mice like you. Itsy and Bitsy, Ruthie, the mama horse, spoke up. I'm afraid this place is too common for a king. No king would care about us. Itsy looked at Bitsy. Well, Bitsy and I are going to find the king. Good luck with that, chuckled Grumpy. To see the king, to see the king, Bitsy zipped down the post and out the street. But then she stopped. Itsy, where will we find him? Itsy paused for a moment, placing his finger on his chin. Well, let's go where the important people go, to the city gate. Off they went. The leaders of the town sat at the city gate making decisions. Bitsy spotted a wise owl sitting at the top of the gate. Mr. Owl, she shouted, we hear a king is coming to Bethlehem. Have you seen him? A king in tiny Bethlehem? You won't find a king here. So the king hadn't come to the wise ones at the city gate. I know, Itsy offered. Let's go where the camels live. Kings ride on camels, right? So the two mice scampered over to the camel corral. Mr. Camel, shouted Itsy, we are looking for a king. Have you seen him? Silly mouse, I've carried some very rich and important men in my day, but I assure you, they did not come here. Kings don't come to common places like Bethlehem, but we've talked to a donkey and never trust a donkey, sneered the camel. Itsy sighed. Where else can we look? Well, let's look everywhere, said Bitsy. The mice ran to the main street and where the busy people rushed around. Lots of busy people, but no king. They ran to the hotel where the sleepy people spent time resting. Lots of sleepy people, but no king. They ran to the city market and where the business people worked all day. Lots of working people, but no king. Finally, Itsy and Bitsy began to get tired. It was getting dark. Let's go home, Bitsy, Itsy sighed. Everyone's right. No king is coming for us. We aren't important enough. Bitsy started to object but didn't. A tear formed on her cheek as they headed toward home. I always wanted to see a king. Now I guess I never will. But when the mice neared the stable, they saw Daniel the donkey, the same one who had told them about the king. Itsy and Bitsy ran up onto the stable fence. We have looked all over town for the king. We couldn't find him. Well, said the donkey in his low, slow voice, you just did. Daniel motioned with his head to the center of the stable where all the animals stood in a circle. The two mice scampered up a fence post and looked. A little baby was asleep in the manger. Who is he? Asked Itsy. He is the king, replied Ruthie. Just like you said, a king came to Bethlehem. His name is Jesus, explained Daniel the donkey. God sent him to love us, help us, and save us. He came for me, even though I laughed at you, asked Rowdy the rooster. And for us, even though we doubted you, asked the sheep. And me? I can get cranky, admitted Grumpy. Daniel smiled and nodded his big head. God sent Jesus for all of us. Who would have ever thought, observed Itsy, a king for everyone. A tiny tear of joy rolled all the way down Bitsy's nose. He came, Bitsy said with a smile, even for a little one like me. And our second book today, friends, is Tacky's Christmas. Mrs. Scalise has read Tacky books before. These are some of my favorites. So, Tacky's Christmas is by Helen Lester, and the pictures are by Lynn Munsinger. What do you think's going on as we look at the cover? We have Tacky up there. I think he's dropping ice cubes. And then his other penguin friends are rolling around in the snow. We will have to read and find out what happens to Tacky and his friends. Tacky's Christmas. Christmas had come to nice icy land. Oh, they're decorating their igloo. Excitement was in the air, and in the water and in the ice cubes. Goodly, lovely, angel, neatly, and perfect had everything beautifully organized. First, we must wrap our presents, they said. But wait, where's Tacky? Where Tacky was in the chimney, practicing, and stuck. He had been selected to wear the Santa outfit since his belly shook like a bowl full of jelly when he laughed. Eventually his companions found him, and with much huffing and oofing, boom, they pulled him out. Present wrapping was very secret, so each penguin hid behind a block of ice. Now that the presents were all wrapped, it was time to turn the task of making ornaments. As they worked with the glue and glitter and sequins, the penguins sang their favorite carol. Deck the iceberg, wrapped a gifty, fa la 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 la. Make an ornament that's nifty, fa la 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 la. Hang it on a tree. Are they hanging it on a tree though? They decorated the iceberg. Look at the ornaments that they're decorating. Is Tacky decorating an ornament? No, he's putting stuff on a hot dog. A tree? The penguins looked around. There seemed to be a shortage of trees on the nice icy land. Do you see any trees, friends? I don't see any trees. We could decorate Tacky, suggested Goodly and Lovely. He isn't. He's sort of tree shaped, if a bit heavy on the lower part, added Angel, neatly and perfect. Hey, suit me up, cried Tacky. And so they did. Do you think Tacky's going to make a good tree? I don't know. We'll have to see. It was a red tree, and they've been dreaming of a green Christmas tree, but never mind. With the presents under the Tacky tree, there was only one thing left to do. Open the gifts. Goodly gave each penguin a jar of belly sliding slickum. Lovely offered zippy speed flippers. Angel's gift was a snappy bow ties. Neatly provided feather dusters they could dust their feathers. Perfect gave bottles of yellow bran beak and foot polish. Finally, Tacky presented each of his companions with a can of shaving cream. What? Shaving cream for penguins? Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect were speechless, so Tacky took over. Hey, this is really fun stuff. Let me show you. And then squirt. Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly were about to duck when suddenly they were interrupted by the thump, thump, thump of feet in the distance. Oh no, they cried. It's the hunters. On Christmas yet. But Tacky was in full squirt mode. He zapped Goodly and Lovely, who pleaded, Tacky, the hunters are coming. This is so cool. Squirt. Angel got it next. And meanwhile, the hunters were approaching with their rocks and locks and maps and traps, and they were rough and tough as the thump, thump, thump grew closer. The penguins could hear their growly voices chanting, We're gonna march some pretty penguins, and we'll drag 'em through the snow, and we'll take away their Christmas gifts. Ho, ho, ho. Police! Tacky banged his companions, but Tacky was having too much fun. He squirted neatly and perfect. Here you go! It takes a lot to make a penguin shiver, but by now, Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect were crouching behind Tacky, shivering. The hunters drew closer and closer, and finally they thumped right up to Tacky. stopped, and then stared. And then, the most surprising, they broke into big, silly grins. Whoa! Him's not a pretty penguin, him's Santa Claus. Look at that beardy. And he's got jewels and sequins and sprinkles. That's gotta be Santa Claus. Shyly, respectfully, adoringly, the hunters bowed. Goodly, lovely, angel, neatly, and perfect peeked out behind Tacky. The hunters gasped. Why, look at them Sandy's Elvies. Got them beardsies too. Whoa, look at that. Merry Christmas, Elvies. Merry Christmas, the penguins bubbled back. Well, of course, there was only one thing to do. After all, it was Christmas, a special time of giving and sharing. So the penguins invited the hunters to stay and enjoy their fish pudding. Tacky came down the chimney before dinner. They sang and played games and told jokes, and everyone was filled with the Christmas spirit and the merriest Christmas ever. And much, much later, after the happy hunters had departed, Goodly, lovely, angel, neatly, and perfect hugged Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird, but a nice bird to have around, especially at Christmas. I hope you enjoyed both of those books, and I can't wait to read more books to you this week. Bye, friends.